think we're live.
I love the way you do one. Like you're not quite sure.
Well, dude, this new YouTube studio that they set up is like it's delayed. So it's
Yeah.
not like with OBS when I just hit stream and like it pops up live. You have to like stream to YouTube first with OBS and then it loads and then you go live on YouTube now. So anyway, we're definitely live by now. So Keith, you can do the intro.
Definitely live by now. So maybe next time we'll leave the one and then we'll just go with it. But you could see how long you could draw it out for.
I will try that next time.
Okay, great. Hello, everybody. Good evening or good morning or good afternoon, wherever the hell you happen to be. We are the Beerumverate. We are a group of guys from sifted.net who like craft beer. Who normally say good beer, but this time it's going craft, and video games. And we like talking about the both of them. We are not here to promote drinking. Please drink responsibly. Any beers or breweries may be talking about aren't sponsoring us. And actually, I probably should throw in a thing that no video games designers, publishers, or distributors are sponsoring us as well, but we've shit all over quite a few games, so they probably wouldn't want to. Today, we do not have Mitch. He very, very selfishly went off to a family wedding rather than do this. I mean, there's just no dedication from some people. But instead, we have returning guest, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for coming back on. Matt, how are things in Vegas?
Cooling down, but still sunny. Enjoyable.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's mainly kind of the two versions of hot as shit, cooling down, winter. Is that weather in Las Vegas?
And it does snow here once every 10 years.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Right. If you would like,
yeah.
If you would like to be on the show, please send a message to Mitch, Berkough, or myself on Sifted or Twitter. Please like and subscribe to the show. I nearly did that musically. I nearly carried it on a bit. I nearly did a little fanfare at the end, but I stopped myself because I was going to sound stupid. Right. Do we want to do beers this week?
I've got one.
Woohoo!
I'm playing it a bit safe. My fiancé recommended me the Punk IPA.
Nice.
Which is very mild in taste compared to what I had last time.
You had an IPA the last time too, right?
Yeah, but it was a Stones. So
yeah, I will do a proper introduction. I'm stepping up my game, so I'm learning from the best. So
you want to tilt that glass a bit more and pour a bit quicker. There you go. No, stop.
There you go. Yeah, so when I went to get this one, it was the last one left. So I think by now, I think it's pretty popular. Yeah, this
it is. They've grown massively in popularity in the UK.
Yeah, it's my second bottle. I really love the first one, so I got another one for this episode. And yeah, what can I say? As I said, it's milder in taste than the other IPA I had. Therefore, I have an easier time drinking it.
I love that for you playing it safe as an IPA. For most people, that's like I've gone off the deep end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'd think some people playing it safe would be some kind of piss water lager.
Right. Yeah.
I'm really glad you're expanding your horizons. Because when you first came on, you were just drinking that super sweet Kopparberg cider stuff. Which
I have an old mouth in the fridge. that's waiting for me right after this, but I didn't want to make a fool out of myself, so I brought an IPA.
Old mouth isn't too bad as ciders go. Right, Matt, what have you got?
I have got one that I've had on the show before. Bad Beats Hoppy Times. It's an IPA. It's a straight West Coast IPA, very piney. Mild citrus, pretty good clarity, as you can see. Decent head. It's just a standard go-to IPA. I really like it. Not too bitter. Some of those IPAs could get to the point where it's almost hard to swallow. This one doesn't do that. I did want to go and get some more stuff from Scenic, which is one of the newer breweries that opened, but the problem with them is they don't can or bottle any of their beer, and so you have to bring I'm trying to think what it's called.
A jar.
Yeah, a glass container. But I already have like 6 of those sitting in the pantry, and I keep forgetting to bring them with me when I go. And my wife would kill me if I bought any more. So,
Yes, well, that's how they get you. I've got not an IPA. Master Brew Kentish Ale from Shepherd Neame, the oldest brewery in the UK. And I was reading the bottle and it said on here, the original Kentish Ale benefiting from the same EU protection afforded to champagne. Weird. Until Brexit.
Oh, wow.
And when all EU protection goes and anyone can start making Kentish Ale. But well done for voting to leave. Same with Stilton. You can have, I don't know, French Stilton. Not that they would make it, but you could have Czechoslovakian Melton Mowbray pork pies. Doesn't matter anymore. We're outside the EU, so EU protection doesn't matter. Well done, everybody.
I have to ask, for Kentish, does it have to be brewed or?
It has to be made in Kent with Kentish hops.
Okay, because I know some.
So Kent's known as the Garden of England, and they've got massive hop orchards.
Nice. Okay.
And the one, and they've been there for, I can't remember even when this started. It was, there you go, 1698.
That's going back a ways, yeah.
I know that may be too far back beyond the memories of most Americans, because didn't history start in 1766? Yeah, because that's when Jesus walked to America and forced all the snakes out of Canada and all of that stuff. And that's not my rumor for this week, by the way. All right, should we get on to rumors?
Yeah, I'll let you
go. You said you had a rumor.
Should I go first?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so my rumor is rather short. So we all know the news that the next E3 is going to be 100% full focus on the fans, right? So I've heard that because of this, like, there will at the next E3 they will only reveal PG and teen games. Yeah, nothing beyond that. They'll keep the rest for Gamescom and TGS. So
no kind of R-rated or M-rated stuff behind closed doors. None of that.
Not even closed doors, because even behind the closed doors there'll be fans. That's the whole. They're going to make this simulation that they are going to let the fans behind the closed doors. They want to give them the fully free experience.
What about loot boxes? Is it just going to be loot boxes behind closed doors?
Maybe. I don't know.
See, now I've got this conspiratorial thing just whizzing around my brain. It's like all of the fans going in have to sign a disclaimer to say, "Have you ever bought a loot box? Yes, no." And anyone that says no immediately gets kicked out, and anyone that says yes just gets let in. And then they face a second round of security and say, "Did you enjoy opening your loot box? Yes, no." And anyone who says no gets turfed again.
Well, on that note, what they could do is, like, you can't even go on the website and buy tickets for E3. You're buying a loot box. And
Yes.
drops. Yeah.
Oh, love it.
think
Love it.
they could start another event down the street for just AO games. It would be like EA doing their EA Access Origin, whatever the hell thing it was that they did.
I'm thinking. I just thought about that because I don't know if you know in Korea there's this thing with boy bands, and they are so popular. They're like fans are literally crazy about them. And the latest thing, one of these bands company pulled was that they are not selling tickets for the next concert of that band. It's just this, like, you may have a chance to, like, you don't know.
Wow.
It's like a lottery. That's how many people are, and that's how much they want to exploit them. The company wants to exploit the fans. So you don't have any certainty that you get a ticket. It's a lottery. You pay money to get into that lottery, and the tickets are very expensive.
That's crazy.
And people don't mind it because they are like crazy in love with these bands. Yeah, it's insane. So
I'm sure EA is paying close attention to that.
Yeah, they should. They really should.
Right. Rumor from me. Well, it's not really a rumor, actually. I asked the best questions on Factor Factor.
Yeah, you're the official Factor Factor questionnaire.
Actual rumor. The new Yakuza game, Yakuza Life as a Dragon, or Life of the Dragon, or Life After Dragoons. Like and subscribe my dragon. Is actually going to get better critical reception than any of the previous Yakuza games because of the real-time, not the real-time, the turn-based battle system. And Evan's going to hate it. That's it's not so much of a rumor, more of a prediction.
Yeah.
I think actually, I think that actually will probably end up being one of the most covered Yakuza games, and might be one of the most popular because of that.
Yeah, and now we need to bring up Star Trek. So, what symbol do you have on your glass today, Matt?
Science.
Well done. I'm going to reintroduce that rule. Every time we mention Yakuza, we have to mention Star Trek.
That's fair. I'm along for that.
Right. So what we are talking about today is we are going to thank and chastise some video game developers for putting in measures into their game that just makes the games feel better for us to play. So we're going to be a bit critical, but we're going to be nice as well. And we're going to say, we really like that thing you did with your inventory, or we really like the fact that you changed your map from this game to this game because it just makes it more easy for us to play and enjoy. I've started throwing in some things. Apparently, it's a big thing on the interwebs that you need to kind of create a bit more personality about yourself.
I've heard.
So, heard. So I started doing that. Right. So we're going to talk about quality of life measures that people put or change or tweak things in games that make things either more annoying than they should be or just nicer all round for us to play. Who would like to go first? Don't all jump in at once, for fuck's sake. Okay, I'm going first then.
I need the crickets for the soundboard.
Okay. One thing, a game that I'm trying to get some more people to play is Apex Legends. And the mechanic that I'm talking about, and I think Matt may have seen because you were whizzing your way around the rather crickety Google Doc earlier on, the ping mechanic.
Yeah.
The ping mechanic just makes so much difference to being able to play that game with either without a headset or with the random numpties and screaming kids muted.
Yes.
So you can still interact with people in your squad, tell them what's going on, tell them where we should be going, point out better weapons or armor or where enemies are, just a simple press of a button. And it's just so easy and intuitive that Epic stole it for Fortnite.
Yeah, no, it makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it makes so much difference just being able to, rather than have to try and talk with people. No, we don't want to go over there. Why are you going over? Mute the fuckers. You can just say, if you don't want to go over there, fine. But here's some level 3 body armor that you might be interested in. Suddenly they'll turn around and run over to where you are. It doesn't make playing with randoms that much easier, but it just makes it easy enough that to maintain it still being enjoyable. Okay, that one landed really well.
Well,
yeah,
I talked over Michael just 2 minutes ago, so I figured I'd let him jump in.
I don't have a specific game. I could list a few, but usually it's in RPGs when they clarify the what are the quest items, or when they send you off to kill a certain number of monsters or pick up a certain number of items, flowers, whatever.
There we go.
Yeah.
And look who that is.
Great.
Yeah. I was the champion of the Apex Legends. Look.
Congratulations.
There you go. Look how colourful my gun is. I didn't even have to pay for that.
Yeah. So I like when RPGs are mindful of that, and they give clarity. And I found that with The Witcher 3 and the Dragon Quest games, the later ones, as well as I've seen something interesting in Persona 4 Golden. That's also in Dragon Quest. Whenever you buy a new piece of equipment, you can also equip it right away. Games that usually don't let you sell equipped items, because there were some RPGs I played that you could not tell which one is equipped, and you would sell it by mistake, and then you lose equipment that way. Yeah, I gotta give it to those games. Then another thing that was recently brought to the retro games via the NES and SNES games on the Switch,
being able to rewind.
The rewind feature, yeah. That's a cool touch. And also,
sorry, just explain that, because I haven't played these.
So whenever at any given point, if you want to rewind the game, you press the triggers and then you go left or right.
So is there a set time limit that you can skip back?
I think it's like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
but
something like that.
I mean, for most old games, that's pretty generous. I think Evan posted some stuff on Ghouls and Goblins that he was playing, and you just need to go back like 3 seconds, sometimes to avoid that death, and you're able to get past an enemy or something like that. So
isn't that called cheating?
It's making it more bearable for newcomers, because
why can't people just get good at the game? Why can't Evan just get good at the game? Fuck's sake, Evan.
Presumably because these games are so old that by now those that have any interest in playing them have way too busy of a life to sit down and relearn all those things again, to get back all those reflexes.
I think it's both. It is. I agree with Keith. It is a little bit of cheating, but it's stuff that's been in emulators for years, right?
Yeah.
So it's quality of life improvements, but it's also giving us stuff that we've had on our computers for the last 20 years.
I don't condone cheating. Unless it's the New England Patriots, then it's absolutely fine. I don't mean that. I'm just winding some people up.
So the rewind feature and the save states. So I've seen all games that are being brought via emulation on all modern consoles. They have this option to save states, to load them. So I think that's a really neat thing. They also had something similar in Final Fantasy XII when it was remastered, that you could speed the game up.
Yeah, and you can do that with 8 and 9 and 7 too, I think.
Yeah, so I like that a lot when games let you speed up certain sections of a game. Monster Hunter Stories on 3DS is something I played recently. And yeah, you could speed up the battle cutscenes.
The speeding up mechanic is interesting, I think, because by the same token, you could just tweak the number of experience points that you get, and it would be the same effect. Like the battle would take just as long, but your characters would level up faster, so it would take less battles.
So I'm confused. So not speeding up in the sense of saving time. So
it actually speeds up the game. The game goes faster.
Okay, so you don't have to grind for 40 hours to reach level.
Right.
Yeah, that's the point.
60 or
you only have to grind for 20 because it's double speed.
Because that's so much better.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think to counter that, they could theoretically just tweak the number of experience points that you get for each monster.
Yeah, but then you'd have a swathe of people just saying it's not the right game.
True.
It's now not as difficult as it used to be. So it's not the right game because now I only have to grind for 10 hours rather than 30 because I'm receiving double or 2/3 more the experience points.
Yeah.
Some people like the grind. Some people
are stupid.
It's.
I mean, if I had the time,
I wouldn't put it like that. It's that some people like to play one game at a time to such extent that they would eventually get nostalgic over the soundtrack that kept playing over and over and over for like 40 hours while they grind it.
I understand that bit. It's the grinding that I don't get. So Matt and Evan need to do an episode talking about octopus traversal. And the whole point is that, okay, you play this part of the game, but then you need to you need to go and repeat all of these battles over and over again until you reach a certain level. And that's the bit that I just don't get. Let me play the fucking game. If I want to critical path the story, give me the ability to critical path the story and not have to say, oh, no, you can't get past this bit because you're too underleveled, so you've got to go back and do all this shit that you've done before again.
Yeah, that's
the bit that I don't get.
It's strange because I can give myself as an example. I don't know how many years has it been, like 4 or 5? I don't know.
You're older than that.
I started playing Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS because I was like, okay, I'm very late to the 3DS and I need to play some RPGs on it just so that I don't miss out all this praise the platform received and the game as well. So when I started playing that, what I primarily looked forward to was, okay, I'm going to focus only on this game and get attached to it. And it just happened naturally because now if I go to listen to some of the soundtrack, I can recognize it and I can remember all the time what was going on in that period of time while I was playing this game. I put like 120 hours into that game. because it needed grinding. And of course, I didn't like grinding. I constantly looked for the best parts of the game to grind in, which offer the more powerful enemies and such. But yeah, even now, like, I'm very excited for the announcement that they're going to remaster it and make it all look nice for the Switch, and I will play it again. So it did happen to me to go into a game just thinking about, okay, I will make this something that I will eventually be nostalgic about in the future. And I think there are more people. I mean, of course, it's not a smart way of using your time. So
I think I don't want to dwell on this for too long, because I don't know. We've let Matt talk enough already this episode. One thing that I'll get onto a bit later on, because I'm bringing up a certain game that I've never spoken about before called Mass Effect. There is an element of leveling up your character in that, but you don't do it through grinding. There's this weird idea of, it's called concept. Thank you very much. Now shut up again. Called side quests. Why is it? I don't understand where the concept of side quests is much more appealing to me than say, oh no, you've already won this battle, but actually you need to go back and do it 4 more times to get enough XP points to beat the next battle. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's just going to automatically tell my brain to switch off and say, screw this game. Whereas
for whatever reason, the side quests in most RPGs where they really insist on you grinding, they are not offering much. So even if you go for the side quest, you're still getting stuck.
Right, Matt, I think you deserve some talk time.
All right.
Thanks for that. Right, so...
I guess I'm going to comment on the grinding aspect and also the Apex Legends ping system. I'll do the Apex Legends ping system first. So one of the first person shooters that I really like to play is Counter-Strike, and you get a lot of chatter in the headset, especially if you're queued up with people that play the game on a regular basis and know the maps in and out. You get people yelling at you like, go to such and such area, and if you're not familiar with the map and you don't know where that little area is in the map, a lot of times you get lost and people on your team get frustrated. I think the ping system should be adopted by every multiplayer first person shooter. It's so amazing to be able to just look at something, not even have to utter a word, hit a button, and it immediately conveys the information that you were thinking that, needs to get to the rest of your team or whatever. In terms of the grinding and side quests, I agree with you, Michael, that like sometimes the side quests don't really offer a whole lot, but I will say that at least there's a little more context to the grinding that you're doing. So, even if you're just running around helping some dude capture his goat, and you're gonna have.
He had some goat-related mishap.
Right?
Can you get my goat back for me? I can't go and get it for myself because the goat gored me and I fell down a ditch and now I'm stuck and I can't go get it. But I'm more worried about my goat. Don't help me out the ditch. Go get my goat.
Right. So even if it's the same battle that you would have in a JRPG where you're doing random battles, and it's the same style combat. It's this at least there's a little context to it and it gives you a little flavor to be like, oh, okay, I can go kill this 30th bandit group that I've run across. So
yeah, it's of course I always prefer to go for the side quest first, but it so happens that I run out of side quests, and then for some side quests you need to grind as well. So
yeah, that can happen.
I found myself having to grind in Yakuza as well to max up everything. So even that has a bit of grinding. It's insane. Yeah. So they don't even make enough side quests for you to be the. Yeah.
I don't even know what game that is, Keith.
Right, this was going to be my next thing, and I like this because
I think I know what it is.
Yeah, so this is the Thronebreaker, the Witcher game.
Oh, all right.
And there's a couple of things I like about this game, and there's one big thing that I found mildly annoying. So the subtle thing that I like about this game is how easily it tells you where the critical path is. Matt, can you guess where the critical path is?
Where the stones are?
Exactly. So if you want to just crit past this game, follow the yellow brick road.
Okay.
If you want to go off and wander around the map and go and do other stuff, you can. But if you just wanted to boot this up and you wanted to follow the critical path, there it is for you, easily displayed, easily visible, and on your way you go.
That's smart game design.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's easily understandable. The thing that I didn't like about this, that actually I found moderately annoying, was the fact that you're only allowed one deck of cards. So
is it Gwent?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are certain challenges and puzzles where you're asked to either get the high score, so follow the classic Gwent thing of you need your thing to be higher than the other person's score, and that's how you win. So you can build a deck to do that. So you have certain things that spawn other cards that automatically boost your points score in your battle. There are some puzzles and battles that require you to kill certain enemies, or so it's almost as if you need two decks, because sometimes if you've got a balanced deck of building a high score but low damage output, you're just automatically going to lose that because you need high damage output, low score.
Okay.
And so it would be where I'm getting at in terms of quality of life is if there's something that tells you just before you're going to get to that battle that says the thing that's coming up is going to be a battle where you need high damage output, or you're going to be expected to kill a person or a beast. So you can build your deck accordingly rather than just stumble into the fight, realize that you're never going to win it, lose it, have to back out to the menu system, rebuild your deck, and then go back into the fight.
Yeah, that's a time sink. I don't like when games do that. Like, they put you through this path of trial and error, and you have to figure it out. Like, sometimes it's fun, but not in this case. It's I don't like it when games throw stuff at you, and I like to have been able to predict a certain obstacle. Like, okay, I understand what I'm getting into, rather than be humiliated.
They try to do this in some ways, but in some of the puzzles, it just tells you it's a puzzle. So you'll see a little piece on the screen, and it will look like a piece from a jigsaw puzzle. But you don't know in that puzzle if you're meant to kill something or just outscore it.
Right.
It'll only tell you once you've gone into the actual fight that it tells you the rules. So you can't prepare. You've just got to go in with what you've got. And if you fail it, you've got to back out and then rebuild your deck and then go in. And then the next thing you might come across might be totally different. So you've got to back out and rebuild your deck and then go back in. And that was a bit annoying. Not enough to put me off this game. I would recommend this to people. Absolutely. If you haven't played it and you can get this cheap, absolutely buy it. If you like The Witcher and you thought Gwent was even moderately enjoyable, buy this game.
So you said you can only have one deck at a time?
Yeah.
Okay, so multiple slots for that would have been would have been
Yeah,
well.
so I would have really liked a two decks. So one with high damage output, and the other one with like a high score builder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are either of you familiar with the Fire Emblem games?
No.
I played The Awakening only and the mobile game.
Okay, I haven't played.
I'll go to sleep for a minute.
I haven't played Three Houses or Awakening, but I've played a lot of the older ones, and it does a good job of when you're on the map and you select this character and you want to attack this character. It tells you exactly how much damage that one character is going to do to the enemy character. And it makes it nice because you can literally go through your entire army or your entire group that you have out and see like, oh, okay, well, this person needs to attack this character. This person needs to attack this character. I need to move within this range, and it's very easy to plot out. Whereas I feel like you kind of have that in the Disgaea games, but it's not. At least for me, it's not as evident. It's not. I don't know. It doesn't click in the same way that Fire Emblem does.
Yeah, when I play all of the Disgaea games, nothing really. What the fuck? Sorry.
It's kind of chaotic and confusing, and takes a lot.
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
All right.
I tried. I remember I tried getting into.
Are they Japanese by chance?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried getting into this Gaia game back on PSP, and I think I died in the first battle. I didn't know what I was supposed to do, how to, like, it was that rough. So I never got into that again. That's my only experience with these Gaia games. I know they're like, it was that time. It was so punishing. Like, it was in the tutorial. Okay, don't do that to me in the tutorial. Yeah, I couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do, so I just moved on. But yeah, it's great with the Fire Emblem games. I think that if they didn't do that, it would have been like more of a trial and error thing.
Yeah.
And by letting you know how much damage each character is going to do, you unlock this new layer of complexity that a game offers you, because then you are also able to position all your characters correctly, and that makes things more fun and interesting, rather than should I position them this way? I don't really know if they'd be successful in that. And I also know they have this color coded thing where a certain type of character is more effective against another type of character, so it's like a full circle.
Yeah, the rock paper scissors mechanic with the
So I usually what is for you? Usually when I think of quality of life updates, I'm thinking of like little mechanics that were implemented, but I've seen in recent times that many outlets refer to them as like sheer content that's added to a game, like this bombardment of content, which is what happened with Assassin's Creed Odyssey for me. Okay. I normally don't burn out on games. Like I'm very patient with games in general, but I just can't move myself for that game. I don't feel like beating the DLCs because so much, like it was so overwhelming how much content they put in that. So my question is like, can quality of life update break a game, and then is it even a quality of life update anymore if it does?
It depends on who you talk to, because for me, I can't remember the name of the game. That's going to bug the hell out of me now.
What did you do?
So there was a system where, well, there's the thing is about encumberment. I know it's in the Fallout series. So if you carry too much stuff, you slow down and you can't walk as quickly. You can't run.
Yeah.
And The Witcher 3, yeah.
Yeah, but that really bugs the hell out of me.
Yep.
Just have an infinite inventory, or just tell me when I've got so many slots, and then tell me you can't pick up anymore. Don't make everything so heavy that you make the game worse to play.
You'll have plenty of that in Death Stranding.
Yeah. I would love someone to do a no urination playthrough. That's going to be part of the platinum trophy. Oh, that should be my rumor for next week. Bollocks.
That should be a trophy.
That should be a trophy. The no urination playthrough.
Yeah.
Someone's platinum journey in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what game it was. But they got rid of having not an encumberment, or it was either encumberment or you had a finite inventory, and people saying, "Oh no, you've broken the game, and we love it when we run out of inventory." It's like, what are you fucking stupid?
I mean, I'll admit in Skyrim there have been multiple times where I've run through a dungeon and picked up a bunch of shit that I definitely want to keep or sell, and my character is over encumbered, and I will make the journey slower than shit back to the town, like, well, I can't fast travel and I don't have any of those potions that up my ability to carry more shit. So
now I do think that's a bit of a weird one. I can see where people would come from and say, if you're used to playing in a certain way, and then someone changes that, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But if they're making that change to make the game more accessible, you're just being an elitist prick.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up.
Well done. Let's draw that line there.
I was gonna bring up AC Origins, mainly because I've been playing it recently, but also because it's the first Assassin's Creed game to really get rid of a lot of the icons that are on the map. And for me, I feel like it's a quality of life improvement for anybody that's got OCD, because you get rid of a lot of the clutter, and when you climb the towers, you can unlock more shit that your eagle can see or whatever, but it's not so much additional crap on the map. Like the older games, I feel like it's just littered with icons, and you're like, what the fuck do I do?
I can comment on that.
Map graffiti.
But yeah, finish your point. I would like to comment on that afterwards.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I enjoy the fact, and I feel like it's a quality of life improvement to get rid of a bunch of the shit that was on the map before, so that I can just focus on doing one or two side quests here and there, and focus on the main quest, and not have to worry about like all this other crap that I could be checking off of a list.
So
there could be so much fun busy work out there for you, and you just don't know about it now.
As someone who 100%ed the maps of both Origins and Odyssey,
okay,
that's not really. So the thing is, Origins was the first Assassin's Creed to introduce a huge map, because before that you had Assassin's Creed Syndicate and Unity, which were current gen,
right.
And they still had relatively small worlds, because you had Paris in Unity and then you had London in Syndicate, which wasn't all that big either. So of course they kind of try to put the same amount they have done in Origins, I think, but it was much more crowded. And what has also been going on, I don't know. When Syndicate and Unity launch, there was no 4K thing going around. I don't think the Pro was released then, so you still had to adapt the icons to full HD, and for that you needed to make them slightly bigger. Now, when we go back to the past generation, where we had where we had the HD consoles, that was even worse. So you had all the icons in Black Flag I think wasn't Black Flag cross generation?
Yeah, I
No.
feel like Black Flag was pretty big too.
So I think right now with the Assassin's Creed games, it's the same, but it feels less cluttered because you have a much bigger surface and more pixel density. In some cases, I think that's the. But overall, I think with Odyssey, they try to do what they've done with Wildlands, and for that matter, Trials, Steep, the Crew. They just
scam people out of money.
Yeah, they just throw content at it. Like you're never going to finish those those games. Like they're not linear.
Right.
In that sense, there's just too much content. And as I said earlier, I think they try to give it longevity by adding.
We know what you mean. It's fine.
Sorry.
Don't worry, Matt doesn't speak English either very well.
Yeah, because I tried to break into categories. What quality of life updates? I tried to break it all down in categories, and I got 5 categories out of it. So you have time of saving updates, accessibility updates, immersivity updates, where they, in the case of the Crew from Ubisoft, they changed the engine completely, and you have better physics, you have better graphics. It's the game is just nicer. Then you have general appeal, when they make a hashtag on Twitter, and then the developers feel the pressure to change the game in a certain way. And then, as I said earlier, longevity / replayability. So Ubisoft, instead of like focusing on the replayability thing aspect, they just throw content at all their games. And
there's on one of the categories, and I think you've missed the point about this show. We very rarely do research. We're that show that Matt tweeted about, where he said most video game podcasts are now 2 hours of people shouting rubbish. I like to think that we're doing our bit to contribute to that. I'm playing Greedfall at the moment, and I'm really enjoying the story. But there's a couple of really niggly things, like the font size is just a bit too small.
Yeah.
From where I am away from my TV, and I normally wear glasses if I'm doing anything concentrated vision. If I weren't to be wearing my glasses, I wouldn't be able to read the text. And I've got a 43-inch TV.
Yeah.
So it's not small. So the font size is just that bit too small. The other thing is, if you're managing your equipment, you've got 2 menus either side of your character. And this side is your backpack, which holds all of your crafting items and your weapons. And this side is all of your clothing and armor that you've got equipped. Now, you'd think, using the power of logic, that if you wanted to move from this side to this side, you'd use left or right. You'd be wrong.
Is it reversed?
No, it actually swaps to your next character.
Okay.
So what you want to do is press down, 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 and then down some more, and hope that your reticle jumps over here. But there's no guarantee that it will.
ouch.
So what you need to do is jump to your next character and then go down, 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 down. And if it jumps over, move back to your character, and it will be over here.
Oh my god. All right, that sounds it sounds like the type of bug that Spiders has in their games.
It absolutely is, but it's so fucking annoying.
The font size was really small in Technomancer too. So
yeah, but the equipment management stuff, that's just really annoying. and I'm really enjoying the story. And don't make me fight through stupid shit to enjoy the story.
Yeah.
Right, Matt, I want to hear about Uncharted 4.
Oh, well, I was going to talk about easy modes in games.
There's an easy mode in Uncharted 4. It's called, what's it, Discovery? Treasure?
Explorer mode or something?
Explorer.
Yeah, something like that. So I played Uncharted 4 because, number one, I picked it up for like $10. It was super cheap.
It's a very good looking game.
It's a very good looking game. I always talk shit on Naughty Dog, especially Uncharted and Last of Us. I hate the shooting mechanics in those games. So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy this because it's $10. I'm going to play through it. I'm going to actually beat this goddamn game. And then that way my opinion will be substantiated somewhat because I have.
Do you see what I mean now when I was talking about the calluses on Nathan Drake's hands?
Right.
I mean, all of that climbing, his hands.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I looked at the Explorer mode as, oh, here's a quality of life update for somebody like me who can't do the shooting in these games to save his life, right? And the irony is it has an auto target, but it auto targets to the body, and it still takes like a full clip to kill somebody. And I got so frustrated, I had to turn that shit off. I had to go back to the normal so that I could actually
headshot some people.
Yeah, because there was no way to kill these motherfuckers and have enough ammo to get through the fight sequence that I was in.
Interesting. I didn't have problems with the aiming in the Uncharted series, and I came to that series from GTA 5 like straight away, and how I would describe that the aiming system in the Uncharted series, it's very floaty. Like the reticle moves relatively fast, so
Yeah.
I just try to get the hang of it and just hope for the best whenever. So it's like, okay, the reticle comes and try to press the trigger as soon as it's over the head of the enemy. So that's how I looked at it. So it's it got to the point it became satisfying whenever I got headshots, and then like if I replay them all now, like I'm pretty good at it. Yeah. So I adjusted quite easily to that, but I also get your point. Like it's not the best thing. So you said it if you enable the aiming to lock on the enemies, it's on the waist.
Yeah.
And then you would have to raise the reticle.
Yeah, but then trying to get it to unsnap from the auto lock is you just end up shooting the air above the character.
It's there. So then it you have to
Yeah, it literally locks onto the enemy, and then you're like, well, I don't want to shoot him in the stomach. I want to shoot him in the head. So you try to move it.
But it stays to the waist.
Yeah, but it like sticks. So like you have to like hold the thumbstick down a little bit, and then it like snaps up, and then you're just shooting in the air, and you're like, what the fuck? So I
know what Matt's on about, because then when you re-aim, it then locks back onto the person's chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
By which point you're stuffed anyway, unless you've got a silenced gun, because everyone now knows where you are. That's something else. More about what was the Splinter Cell Conviction? There's something in that is, if you take some video games like Tomb Raider and Uncharted, where you make any amount of noise whatsoever, and suddenly everyone knows your exact location.
Oh, they've got like these precognitive fucking telepathic abilities to
whereas in something like Splinter Cell Conviction, you could make noise, but someone would know generally where you were, and they'd leave that little ghost icon next to,
right,
and you could go off. That is such a good mechanic.
I think it was like that in Blacklist too.
Which one was Blacklist?
Blacklist was the one. I think it's the most recent one. I don't think they've released one since then. It was for the.
Was that the one where you lived on the plane?
Yes. Yeah. It was.
Yeah.
It was a bit like playing Mass Effect. It felt like.
Yeah. So that was the one that came after Conviction. I haven't played that one, but I thought that was so good because it would be. We know roughly where this person is. We don't know exactly where they are, even though they shot someone over the other side of the fucking map.
Yeah.
I think this. Did we have any game with this generation that did that? I think this is a relic of the previous generation.
I can't think of a game that's had that mechanic in it.
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Because like all the past third person action adventure games, like they all do that now with the ghost thing. So yeah, that was a nice implementation that eventually got into all the games. Yeah.
Right. I want to talk about something.
Mass Effect.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Sorry for spoiling it.
There we go. My name is Kylie Shepherd. It just happens to be my head is in exactly the right position.
Like it.
So I liked the fact that they trimmed down the upgrade system
From 1 to 2 to
from
3.
1 to 2. So this is the upgrade system from the original Mass Effect game.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
And you can see at certain points they've got the slightly different article. The icon is slightly different.
Yeah, that's where you get the bonus.
You get the little bonus points. I thought it was just a bit too complicated, and you could never really, if you like this person's done, you can never really build someone out to max out any of these abilities because of how many different categories there were and how quickly you could upgrade your character by getting XP points. So when they changed to the other system, I hope that I can get one more picture going. It might have frozen me out.
But 3, yeah, there's...
No, there we go.
Yeah.
So moving to this kind of system where you can actually max out nearly all of these categories and get up to... I've got to level 60 in every character that I've played through a Mass Effect, except for Numpty Shepherd. Numpty Shepherd plays like a numpty. And I don't assign hardly any skill points to any of their characters, and they just play through being shit. Playing through Mass Effect 2 as a numpty is absolutely classic because you just, no, why are they dying? It's like, you know why they're dying. You didn't do their side quest, you fool. But swapping to this system actually allows you to build out pretty much. I think you can get up to 4 or 5 of these categories if you reach level 60. You can max out 4 or 5 of these, whereas on the previous version, you'd never be able to do that. And I quite like the fact that they streamlined this in that way so that you can get those max level abilities more quickly.
I don't, but I'm a nerd like that. I actually like having like the whole full stat sheet and all that. That's one of the things that I don't like about the Elder Scrolls games. So from Morrowind to Oblivion to Skyrim, they've dropped skills with every game. And Keith just jumped out of the he just decided to leave.
Yeah, you said you don't like that. He just quit. But
you kind of shook your head though, Michael. You agree with me?
Oh, have you recanted yet?
No.
What's going on?
When are you going to be nice about Mass Effect now?
I mean, all right. So 3 is my favorite out of the entire series. I've mentioned that multiple times, but I feel like the quality of life improvements they made for 3 were not on the stats, and more with the controls.
I think
the tightest. It's like the tightest combat.
They're a bit part and parcel for me because if I skip back to the other image, Bollocks. You won't be able to see it so because you really need to kind of zoom in.
Right.
But there's lots of things on here that are the kind of classic RPG tropes, like charm.
Right.
And I liked it in this game, but I didn't actually miss it in either of the other two.
That's fair. Yeah.
So the fact that they took it out and allowed me to spend more of those points on other things that I was using more frequently, I thought was really cool, because you didn't miss it in any way.
Okay. My argument for the more detailed stats is that you feel like you're actually playing your class. Like in Mass Effect 3, I played an infiltrator, and I don't really...
The infiltrator in 1 was fucking terrible.
I mean, that's like my favorite class to play. But in 3, it doesn't really feel like an infiltrator. It feels like a soldier with an emphasis on sniper rifles.
Yeah. So yes, I get where you're going with that one.
And I feel like a lot of the classes feel like that. It's just like, well, you're a soldier with an emphasis on biotics, or So
no, if you go full biotic in Mass Effect 3, and you actually feel like a biotic more so than you did in 1 by a long way. And I think what they found is most people were playing as biotics and not really feeling like they were getting the most from it.
Yeah.
And that's when then the people like you who wanted to play as a science infiltrator type person got screwed, because you didn't have such a detailed skill tree to build out.
Right.
And you spent most of your time with a sniper rifle and tech abilities that you could have already got by playing other class anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas, so we're as with everything, we're putting our own personal bias on this. But what I found in Mass Effect 1 was this charm here.
It's completely useless.
It wasn't. This came in really handy, because it wasn't just charm, it was more like influence. And it's something, again, it's been picked up in Greedfall. You've got charm and intellect abilities, and they're slightly different. So charm, is it character, as in your actual embodiment of character? You can use your status if you level up enough to say, I am this person, you should just do what I say, and people will just count out to you. Whereas you can actually use your other ability and reason with people.
Okay. So
that's where I really like that in Greedfall, because there's so much jank I can get over it. Whereas if there was the same as this in Mass Effect 2, I don't think the controls, they would have had enough to be able to max out your abilities to make you feel, when you were playing the fight sequences, that you were this badass biotic or you were this badass soldier.
Okay.
Unless they would have just had to throw XP at you like it would throwing shit at a wall.
Yeah. I need to go back and play them, to be honest, because I'm a few years removed from, I'm probably 8 years removed from 1 at this point, since the last time I played it.
Also, I just remembered the other day that I should have logged into my Xbox Live account. I hope I haven't lost it, because I haven't logged into that thing for like 6 years. So there you go. There's a damning indictment on Xbox if I might actually lose my gamer tag. Not that anyone would want Keith McWomble.
Yeah,
Right.
I
So
only
I've talked about Mass Effect enough. I'm just going to take a rest.
yeah, you. I only played. I think I played a considerable amount of the first one. I think I only got to 30% because I feel how big that game is. I only visited a couple of planets, and I had a major boss fight at some point, and some main character died. But yeah, that was I think 2 years ago.
The original is one of the better stories out of the. I think the story in 1 is better than 3. 2 is my favorite.
I insist on trying to be the first one because everyone says
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Everyone says that gameplay-wise, it's so crap that
It's
I
not
want
that
to
bad.
see.
I mean, Christ, it's better than Greedfall, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I guess. I don't mind. I tolerate it quite well, but when I get to the second one, I want to fully appreciate and be relieved of all these quality of life improvements they did to the series in 2 and then in 3. I don't want to get right into the
one thing that I think they let themselves down on in 2 and 3 is the streamlining of the dialogue options.
Yeah. So there's that, and it's 2 and 3 are definitely much more focused on being third-person shooters than RPGs.
Yeah.
Third Persian.
Third
Persian.
person.
Third version.
Yeah,
person.
This is the third Persian. Third person shooter action RPG.
Yeah.
So
the first one's is much more rooted in like KOTOR and being like more heavily based on this is an RPG, right?
Yeah, if you like I was saying in that charm thing, if you max that out and you go full Paragon or Renegade, you get totally different dialogue options than you would if you hadn't have done those things. And that's what I quite like about the first one compared to the next 2, where some of the dialogue options are much more simplistic. So there's kind of good, bad, and indifferent.
could it be the fact that they try to make it more appealing to a broader audience so that they can get in?
I think they did it because it's easier and they could make more about the game and they could make the graphics look better and the faces not look so fucking stupid. Unless you're talking about Andromeda, because there you go. That's the face.
Oh God, yeah.
And then that's the face.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah.
So that's the difference between 1 and 3. 1, 3.
What's funny is I made my own character in Mass Effect, and my wife is like, "What is wrong with your character?" And I was like,
that
"Nothing."
Was Andromeda, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Andromeda. But she's like, "What is wrong with your character?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, this is the face that I made. I switched it back to the default. She's like, "Oh my God, that looks so much better."
So what is your favorite? Like, if you were to point to your favorite quality of life update that a game you liked or just thought that update was really, really great, what would that update be like? Can you think of something?
I can't think of a game, but in general, it's inventory related, because inventory management is a pain in the arse. Especially if you're in an RPG and you're collecting loads of loot and gear and whatever else. So anything that makes your management of your equipment and the stuff that you've collected simpler and easier to do is way up there on my list.
Yeah, right.
Like things like auto sell or junk. And then when you come to a next merchant or vendor, it's like, auto sell junk. Yeah, get rid of all that shit. I don't want it.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think as I get older, like I used to really love like in Morrowind when you would go talk to somebody, you'd get a journal entry, and there was no map marker. As I get older, that's less and less appealing because I have less and less time to play games, and I just want to get through a story. Inventory is another aspect of RPGs that's a pain in the ass, so I agree with Keith. Anything that makes managing your inventory easier, if it's auto-equipping weapons, if it's you not having to think about the stats or whatever. It's like, oh, I picked up this new sword. Do I really need to compare it against what I have? If it just freaking auto-equips, that makes life easy. I know it dumbs down these things, and that's always not the best. I think
one thing that I think you're guessing at is, can you very quickly at a glance tell me that what I've got now is better than what I've just picked up?
Yeah, or is there a way to toggle this on and off? Is there a way to do like Uncharted and just do the Explorer mode where I know that I'm in this for the story and I just want to play through this game and see what it has to offer? Or if I want to, I can toggle it to, Nightmare or whatever and make it a much more complex and engaging experience if I have the time to put into it. Those are the quality of life updates that I like, where it adjusts the game to be respectful of the time that you have to put into it, basically.
Yeah, I think you wrapped it nicely there with the game respecting your own time. Yeah, that's exactly what I would have said too. The management, the inventory thing, and the quest clarity. I think Odyssey does a nice job, because if you don't want to be if you don't want the game to hold your hand, you can just you have like free general hints where your next destination is, so you can do that. But you also have the option for them to show you, like it's here. Going back to Xenoblade Chronicles, there were times when they didn't even tell you where you were supposed to grind a certain thing. You're supposed to just go out in the world and find it out. So for many sub quests, for many side quests, I completed them by mistake, as I was
just stumble across something.
Yeah, go and return this side quest because you completed it. Oh, okay. And a bonus thing which was introduced in Breath of the Wild was the ability to see where you've been. Like, that's great for big open world games. Yeah, that's something. This actually blends into a second question I would have had for you. Like, what is something you'd like to see in all games or in most games from now on? Like, personally, I would like to have that in all open world games. I want to go to look back to at the end of the game when I feel that I'm done with the game. I want to look at the map and just see wherever I haven't been yet, and then go there and explore. What would that be for you? I think I know what Keith is going to say. The ping system.
Yeah, that would be. I'd play more online multiplayer if that was implemented more frequently.
I feel that can be implemented in more genres, to be like not only in first-person multiplayer shooters, but also in third-person open world. Online games, yeah, but as long as you have a world to explore, like with other players, I think that's perfect, because it's an effective way of communication with other players non-verbally. So
yeah, and because Matt won't play Apex Legends with me anymore.
That's not true.
The fact that I'm having to play with randoms it just makes it does make it that bit more enjoyable. So having something that makes my enjoyment of something that I never used to really enjoy that much more enjoyable. How many times can I say enjoyable in a single sentence? It increases the enjoyment of the enjoyability of the enjoyment factor. I ask really eloquent questions on practice factor. Just talk like shit on here. Matt, what would it be for you if you could implement one thing? Just a massive inventory.
One thing? I don't know that I have one individual thing that I can.
Yeah, I'd struggle to think of one thing that I'd like to see across.
It's the small things that we take.
It's like when your wife brings you chocolates. It's just the small things that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's the stuff you take for granted, like these days, and then going back to old games, you're like, "Fuck, why doesn't this have this?" You know.
Yeah, so you're saying you should implement a rewind function in all games?
No, I'm. I don't know. Maybe enemies can give you a little more experience points.
Yeah.
I like the classic JRPG formula and gameplay style. But
do you know who I think got the balance of experience right? Insomniac.
With
Marvel Spider-Man.
Oh, I haven't played Spider-Man yet, so.
Oh my god, the rate at which you pick up experience is just perfect. And you can give yourself abilities to boost it a little bit. So you always feel powerful no matter who you're going up against, even if you're slightly underleveled or you're
slightly
overleveled, you always feel like the magnificent Spider-Man.
That's cool. Yeah, that was an exceptionally well streamlined game. Like it was so straight, because I also platinumed it, and at the end, like I only needed to go back to a few of those gang hideouts. I think I had to grind like 3 of them for whatever trophy, and then the very last trophy was to visit. Actually, no, I won't spoil that. But yeah, it was so straightforward. So I liked it really well.
Matt, as a comic book fan, and I saw your post on Twitter the other day of the 2 Spider-Man comics. Yeah. You need to pick up Marvel Spider-Man.
He hasn't played that yet.
No, I haven't played it yet.
Wow.
Yeah. He's so good.
It really is.
All right.
There are little bits of kind of repetitive open world busy work, but you feel like Spider-Man when you're doing them.
Okay.
It's a proper Spider-Man game. The first one.
All right. So, have both of you guys played the original PlayStation 1 games?
No.
The Neversoft ones?
Did that ever receive a port on PC?
I don't think so. I think they're just...
The only Neversoft game I've played on PlayStation was Tony Hawk.
All right. That was... all right, so the very first Spider-Man for PlayStation 1 was the first time I ever felt like I was playing a comic book. So if the PS4 Spider-Man and Insomniac Spider-Man feels like the PS1 version, I'm down. I'll pick it up.
Oh, mate, honestly, don't even hesitate. If you can get your hands on a second-hand copy of that from a store near you, go for it.
I was about to suggest to pick it up now, because it's also a classic hit. So it's like I think it's $20, right now.
Is it 20?
I think the sale's finished, so it's gone back up to full price.
I know that they have this lineup of classic hits that they are always reduced to that price for.
I'm gonna look that up, gentlemen.
But I meant to suggest that if he gets that physical, he also has that nice sleeve cover. But I just remembered just UK or Europe.
Yes. So Matt, there's two things you need to do. It's coming up to Stoptober, so quit smoking, play Spider-Man.
Okay. I could do one of those things.
Stop smoking.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
All right, and on that
Well,
note, I think we've hit like the 1:30 mark, if I'm not mistaken.
Have we? No, not quite.
Not quite?
No, never. An hour. It must be about an hour and 20.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Keith McWomble, and this is my favourite podcast on the Citadel.
Keith, I'll let you go ahead and wrap it up.
I just did. What the fuck are you doing? You didn't realise that was the wrap?
That was the wrap?
Yeah. Why else would I say